We're going to look at the difference between three golfers. Me, Matt, scoring low 70s, JMac scoring low 80s, and BDog breaking 90. It's the same 9 holes of the same course, and it will show exactly where each player does well or needs to improve. The first difference you'll notice is the distance and the color of the tee markers depending on ability. We play from the correct tees until we are ready to graduate backwards. Length acts as more than a physical barrier. It's a mental barrier for people, and despite having the length, they often feel compelled to smash the ball harder from the intimidation. JMac is playing to a 12 handicap and is improving all the time. He has the length for the blue tees, but it's a new move for him to move from the white tees, so we're mixing the tees up to get him comfortable. BDog plays to an 18 handicap and is trending downward. As he improves his score, he will mix up blue and white tees like JMac, then go to all blues. Off the tee, we see that BDog lands in a bunker. We become better at missing the hazards as we improve at golf, and we improve at golf because we miss the hazards. This is almost automatically a one-shot addition to the score of a higher handicapper. How could he avoid this? Aim very far away from the hazard. I pulled my drive a little and had a longer approach in. My length allows me to hit a 6-iron into the green without much effort. This allows a higher ball flight into the green from a longer distance. If you do hit a longer club, it can still roll up onto the green. Do not be deflated by longer hitters. Adapt your game. JMac is center cut, and another major difference are the clubs we play. I play with blades, while he changed from blades to game improvement cavity backs and has found a more consistent approach game. He hit this shot way off the toe, and yet it still makes it to in line with the pin. This is a massive difference for him to be playing the correct clubs. BDog knows to break 90. He likes to play regulation +1, so he ensures a pitch onto the green, giving him a chance at 4, but very happy with a 5. He isn't worried about hitting the par 4s in 2 or par 3s in 1. He can, and he should always try, but never if it adds unneeded stress. You'll notice a great difference between JMac in this video versus previous videos. He is putting like a machine now. This improvement in putting, removing 4 or 5 3-putts per round, will be a massive change for any golfer to get into the next level. Putting is easy to fix, but no one practices it. That's why people think it's hard. Remember, the pros rarely make these putts, so with 3 2-putts on the first hole, let's all GTFO with a lovely score each and smile.
Sit down. Yes, good putt.
Nice.
The second hole is a very simple hole. The only thing messing with your mind is that bunker and the water on the left. It all looks like you can reach it easily, when in fact a rangefinder will tell you they are not a threat. At 379 yards, I could get away with a hybrid here, but I know from prior experience that the bunker is out of reach even with a driver, and is a perfect alignment aid to hit at. JMac is on the same tee for this one, and stripes his into a similar position to mine. He has the boom boom to play the blues and will graduate there permanently. What a man. What a man. BDog only has 343 yards to cover. In a lot of people's minds, it's driver time every hole. But in this situation, BDog knows he slices it on this hole every time he plays this course. To change that, he must change something drastically. He must change his club, his aiming point, or the side of the tee he tees up on. If I could go back, I would suggest at 343 yards, he can use his hybrid off the tee, but only if he feels committed to it. Now on to commitment. The fact BDog was committed to hitting the driver off to the right is the reason he hit it to the right. There's comfort in our errors. The unknown is the hybrid or fairway wood of the tee. We tell ourselves we can screw up a hybrid or iron or fairway wood, and we commit to that screw up before we even hit the shot. If BDog hit it with a higher lofted club, he would have less dispersion left and right and be in play on a relatively short hole. Higher lofted clubs are easier to hit. That's #science. Skill levels vary at our 3 scoring barriers. BDog fears waste bunkers. I love them. That confidence is a massive factor. The confidence comes from practice and experience though, so practice and learn from your prior experiences. JMac is sent to cut, but pulls this ball into the valley of sin on the left. Is he a bad iron player? Nope. He's just not warmed up, so he can forgive this error. This hole is handicap index stroke 9. JMac is okay to hit this green in 3 shots. He's a 12 handicap. I'm also center of the fairway, but I leave my approach short. This is inexcusable and into the breeze. I should have taken one more club to play to the middle of the green, over the pin to ensure a look at birdie. Around the greens is where strokes are really slashed. Strokes gained is a joke for anyone above a 2 handicap. Get it up and down more often and you cut tons of strokes immediately. On par 5s is where we see a major difference between handicap levels. I find higher handicappers lack the confidence in hitting 3 or 4 good shots in a row. They can, and they often do, but the length of the hole turns the brain over to smash mode. 520 yards is 3 shots of 175 yards. This may sound ambitious to you, so how about we split it up into 4 shots, 130 yards each? Can you hit 4 shots 130 yards? That may seem a little silly, but we can see how easy or difficult we make each hole with our self-fulfilling destruction thoughts. Smashing a driver into the water or topping it off the tee puts you in a foul mood. A 5 or 6 iron onto the fairway gets you thinking about how to get the ball on the green in 3 or 4 shots. That's a massive mindset change. Imagine then the knock-on effects of a person in the water angry, and you, the guy in the center of the fairway with a 5 iron hit. You're happy, and the water ball guy is even more angry that you're doing better. Who do you think finishes the hole? BDog hits his drive into the bunker. Avoiding hazards to improve your score will prove to be a very obvious concept in this video. Would a 5-wood or hybrid reach this bunker? I don't think so. JMac practice sand shots to move from high handicapper mode to mid handicapper mode. That will be a major difference in handicap levels. The confidence in the sand. That just takes practice learning the technique. JMac put in that work. When you get confidence in the sand, you stop fearing it, so you stop seeing it. Then you stop going in it. But when you do go in it, you don't crap yourself anymore. Easy life. I hit a short drive and that turned this hole into a 3-shotter instantly. It took a while to get over the obsession hitting all par 5s and 2. Most often, playing the par 5 as a 3-shot hole gets better results for me. Less smashing, more controlling, more birdies. I have a long way to go and want to avoid the water that cuts into the fairway. I go well left and hit a club that won't reach where the water cuts in. I'm happy to set up any approach shots inside 160 yards because I'm confident with my 8 iron and down.
Good shot. Yep, it's going to stop short and you'll have like a lob wedge or something in.
Now, let's see the difference in short games. By short game, I mean inside wedge distance. That's bunker shots, chipping, pitching, putting, and full wedge shots. This is the easiest place to move from high to mid to low handicapper. Get this part of the game right by practicing this more than the driver, and you will be a man. Of course, we can say BDog is more inconsistent than JMac, and JMac is more inconsistent than me. But we are actually all pretty consistent. We need to talk ourselves into shots, not out of them. This is a behavior that affects your commitment, and your commitment affects your confidence, and your confidence creates your shot selection. I might have inner chatter that makes me lose commitment 4 or 5 times around and I hit a poor shot, but I never give up and I generally recover well. JMac might do it 6 or 7 times around, but he is gaining confidence and removing the negative thought spiral that destroys golf scores. He knows he can get it in the hole in as few as possible. BDog might do it 9 or 10 times around, but it can produce a higher score than mine and JMac's errors. He might still slip into negative town because of things other than golf. Things like perceived slow play, how others will see you, or swing mechanics that should never be in a high handicapper's mind while on the course. This is because our inner talk is all different. When I hit a bad shot, I don't think about how bad this hole is going to be. I plan to get the ball in the hole for par or less. And I channel my inner lion. That's why I fist pump a fighting par more than anything else. JMac was shooting 120 2 years ago. He's already broken 80 this year. BDog was shooting 110 to 120 less than a year ago. He has broken 90 just a few weeks ago. Let's be victors and not victims.
Okay. Oh, great shot.
Do you see how the short game brings handicaps down? Totally different approach results. I was on the green in 2 shots with, to be frank, a brilliant approach. BDog was greenside with 2 decent shots. JMac was on the green with a marathon putt. We all walked away with a par there. Play to your strengths and take advantage of your abilities. Don't get sucked into other people's games, trying to keep up with them. That's a net eagle for BDog and a net birdie for JMac and I. That's the Handicap Index 3 hole.
Well done. Well done making that.
The par 5s can become scoring opportunities if you want to move down in handicap. The next target can be par 3s. You need to play them in smart ways. You can become great at your home course's par 3s by practicing the most prevalent club you use on all 4 of the par 3s. BDog just needs a 4 and he focuses on getting it close or on the green and trying to get up and down. He needs to avoid any sand and any water. You can rely heavily on your short game as a high handicapper. It's the only part of the game where we all have a chance of being as good as the pros. Anyone can practice it, and you don't need lots of power, just finesse. I aim to go at the pin if it's in an accessible position. I generally try to aim it to the middle of the green and shape it to the pin. Often I go straight at it because I can hit a pretty straight ball. Here, I overcooked it and pulled it into the bunker, which meant I was in the short side. This is the ultimate error. I should have erred on the right side for an easier second shot, as the left side leaves no green to work with and the most difficult chip shots on the hole. JMac also misses left, and it's the wrong place to be. He does what I didn't do and gets it on the green though. BDog hit the best shot of all of us and has a simple chip, and he has the best chance of making a 3 and probably will ensure a 4. You can see on any given hole, things can swing in favor of any handicap. But the big difference comes on the next hole, after a poor hole. Low handicappers get either angry or more aloof to the result. But you can bet by the next hole they're refocused on playing the next shot as best they can. I'm always looking for the next birdie, the next shot, the next great drive, the next opportunity to make it right. Mid-handicappers often see their score blow up and their chance of breaking 80 slipping away because they're conscious of how many doubles or triples they've made. They don't focus on the opportunities ahead, rather the misery from before, and you will repeat the miseries if you focus on them. That's why I tell everyone to stop keeping score in their heads or as they play. This will prevent meltdowns after a bad hole. Focus on the process, forget the score after you write it down. High handicappers can quickly start focusing on what's wrong in their swing or get into a mental state so tense that everything goes wrong. Easy, players. Relax and trust the process. You're not Tiger Woods, you're not in the Masters, and you have seen a glimpse of your potential before. It will come back. Course management and hole planning is also a huge difference. JMac and I both hit shots that leave us a wedge shot into the green. We put it close to the hole because we left ourselves shots that are in our strike zone. We pre-planned it though. We didn't hit driver because we knew it wouldn't be beneficial. So we hit a shorter club off the tee and we left enough space for our comfy shot to hold the narrow green. BDog was practicing his driver, so we won't criticize him for this play. But a lot of golfers will leave themselves awkward pitch shots that they are not confident in. This is one way to lose a lot of strokes. Leave your favorite distances into the hole. For BDog, he would usually hit something shorter off the tee to leave a more assertive shot into the green. That's money. One of the first things we all need to do is know our carry distances. BDog is using his total distances for each club instead of knowing his carry distance. I only realized that after a couple of weeks after this round when we used the Swing Caddy SC300 to measure his shots. He was shocked. Then it's about aiming into places where there is no damage. The biggest difference you will see between handicap levels down to pro level is the pre-shot focus. Pros always start by taking the lie of the ball and their stance. They assess it. Is it sandy, fluffy, loose, tight, hard pan, spongy, wet and slippery, uphill, downhill, ball above, ball below feet, etc. Then they take their experience and formulate what can be done from that lie. Next step is to assess what's in front of them. What must they go around, under, over, or is it clear? How is the green angle? Where can they land the ball for it to stay on the surface? If they can't hit the green, where can they get the ball to in order to get it in the hole for as few as possible? Then they pick up a club that will perform that action playing the highest percentage option possible. Theirs is a long-term game over multiple rounds, like a poker tournament. Only in the very necessary times do they go for super high-risk shots. You'll see in match play, they play way more aggressively because they only lose a hole, not an entire tournament. After they decide on the best course of action, they commit to it 100% because if they don't, they will fudge it up. Then they walk to the next shot and repeat until they piece together a great or mediocre or bad score. Then they do it all over again, and again, and again, and again. If that made your head spin, I understand. But in your game, when did you consider these things? How often do you play copy-paste golf, picking the same club in all situations, wondering why the result is bad or good? Most higher handicappers don't stop to think for 10 seconds. Most mid-handicappers go for shots they shouldn't and forget to reduce damage. They lose track of the course management plan and go on tilt. Stop and think for 10 seconds. Assess your surroundings. There are no hero shots, only stupid shots. Low handicappers lose their shots from lack of commitment and focus. Low handicappers are more conscious of the conditions and so make more good decisions based on the lie, stance, and obstacles.
The wind took it, eh? That's the strike. It's also right to shoot. Hit it, wind.
Some days, the par 3s are your feast. Sometimes they are your famine. Generally, I like to look back on a round and be around level par for the par 3s. JMac would like to be no more than 2 over for all the par 3s, and BDog can be comfortable with 4 over, and anything less will be a bonus. JMac moved from a 20 handicap down to 12 quickly by getting a longer club off the tee. That meant he was hitting a lot of 6, 7, and 8 irons into greens, which means he becomes really happy with his mid irons. This also meant he missed a few more greens. His putting was not as good as it is now, but he was easily scoring high 80s, low 90s. It meant he had to sharpen up his short game, especially putting. That's where he has really improved. After he sorted out his putting and learned to hit a driver, he slashed scores with shorter approaches into the greens. He changed from the blade style iron to cavity back game improvement irons for more forgiveness. This was also huge because his bad shot was a fat shot. The blade digs immediately, whereas the fat cavity back glides through for forgiveness. To move from a 12 down to a 6 handicap, he'll have to totally eliminate 3 putts. He'll need to be supreme inside 5 feet. If you're a boss inside 5 feet, you take pressure off your chipping. You don't need to chip it so close. If you feel less pressure on your chipping, it takes pressure off your long game. This is the cycle of golf. The improvement filters up toward the longer clubs. He'll need to focus on the lie, how his stance is, what club will work for each shot, and then select the best shot in every situation and commit 110%. He's almost there. He has all the shots. For BDog to move into the low teen handicap, he'll need to avoid the hazards. We can't go into the sand off the tee, and we should focus on hitting our shot shape so we don't shape it into the bunkers or water. Stay short of trouble, or hit it far away from it. He had 4 sandballs, and they cost him at least 3 strokes on the 9. He'll need a consistent drive, and that may be through hitting shorter clubs sometimes, and driver at the right times. Again, course management will be important for him. That means playing to his strengths and avoiding his weaknesses until he works on the weaknesses off the course. Mainly, he needs confidence through practice and experience. The headworms can strike a high handicapper down quickly. We don't know anything about the golf swing or how to fix it on the course. Your negative death spiral is not around every corner. A great run of 6 holes is always around the corner. For me to get down to under par, I will need to eliminate those poor shots from lack of commitment. I need a wider arsenal of short game shots and I need to stay in the game mentally. This game is not only mental by way of being tough and getting over bad holes. That's one aspect. The other, less talked about aspect is that you need to stop, think, plan, focus, eliminate junk from your mind, and execute. Then you need to believe that you can get the ball in the hole following the stress-free next shot approach. You need to remember to take into account your lie, your stance, the wind, the green hardness, and you need to commit to the shot you select. At the low handicap stage, it's all mental. You have all the shots. You just need to think, plan, execute, and mostly believe. And stop self-sabotaging because you fear death and being alone.